Some of the deepest psychological wounds don't come from trauma itself, but from the words spoken by the people we trusted most. Welcome to Mental Code, the channel where psychology becomes a roadmap to understanding yourself. Today, we're decoding the hidden impact of everyday phrases parents say that shape a child's mind for life. These aren't rare phrases. They're common, normalized, and psychologically damaging. Let's break them down. Let's start with a classic, "Stop crying." Or "I'll give you something to cry about." When parents say this, they don't stop the emotion, they stop the expression of it. The child learns that emotional vulnerability is unsafe. They learn that their feelings are a problem to be solved, not a message to be heard. This is how adults are created who say, "I'm fine," while silently drowning inside. They become masters of suppression, pushing down sadness, fear, and anger until it manifests as anxiety, chronic stress, or physical illness. The brain learns survival patterns early. It sees that showing emotion leads to punishment or rejection. So, it builds a wall. Suppressing emotions creates a nervous system-wide fear-conflict and furcht. It creates a person who avoids intimacy because true intimacy requires vulnerability, the very thing they were taught to hide. Next up is the comparison trap. Why can't you be more like your brother or sister? Psychologically, comparison teaches one core message: love is conditional. It's not based on who you are, but on how well you compete. Your value isn't inherent, it's ranked. A child internalizes that their worth is constantly being measured against someone else, and they always come up short. Children who grow up being compared often develop chronic self-doubt, perfectionism, or deep-seated resentment. Their self-worth becomes a scoreboard instead of an internal compass. They might become relentless overachievers, desperate to finally win approval, or they might give up entirely, believing they can never measure up. This fractures sibling relationships, turning potential allies into lifelong competitors. Then there's the authority card. "Because I said so." This phrase is a conversational dead end. It trains a child to obey without understanding. It discourages critical thinking, curiosity, and the ability to question authority respectfully. It sends the message that their thoughts and questions don't matter. Only their compliance does. This creates adults who struggle to speak up for themselves at work, in relationships, everywhere. They may find it difficult to negotiate a raise, set boundaries with a partner, or challenge an unfair situation because they were conditioned early on to accept rules without reason. Authority without logic equals fear-based compliance. Fear-based rules may work fast to get a child to put on their shoes, but they don't build trust. They build compliance. And compliance is not the same as emotional safety or mutual respect. Here's a phrase that can feel like a gentle dismissal. Bootcat diepiertesent. This phrase charges into their own emotions. It invalidates their internal reality and teaches them to distrust their own feelings. The message is clear. Your emotional reactions are wrong, exaggerated, or a flaw in your character. Over time, the child learns to second-guess their gut feelings and numb their emotional responses. What parents often label as sensitivity is actually the seed of emotional intelligence. It's early empathy, intuition, and emotional attunement. These are superpowers. When invalidated, these skills don't disappear, they simply turn inward, morphing into self-doubt, anxiety, and a feeling of being fundamentally flawed. Instead of a powerful internal guidance system, their emotions become a source of shame. Perhaps one of the most damaging is this one: "You always cause problems," or "You're always so difficult." This is one of the most harmful types of phrases because it doesn't criticize a specific behavior, it attacks the child's core identity. It's not about what they did, it's about who they are. An identity wound lasts far longer than childhood. The child doesn't hear, "I didn't like that you spilled the milk." They hear, "You are a problem. Your existence is inconvenient." When a child internalizes this kind of shame, it becomes a blueprint for their personality. They grow into adults who apologize for existing, who feel like a burden on others, who settle for less in jobs and relationships, and who tolerate disrespect because, on a subconscious level, they believe they deserve it. This shame becomes the background noise of their entire life. Now, for a phrase disguised as a lesson in gratitude, we give you everything. You should be grateful. This phrase teaches children that love is not a gift, but a transaction. It implies that care, food, and shelter are not basic rights, but favors that must be repaid with gratitude and obedience. Their worth becomes measured by their performance. Love becomes something they owe back. This creates a foundation for people-pleasing. These kids often grow up to be adults who are overgivers, who over-explain themselves, and who overstay in toxic relationships. Because to them, love feels like a debt they are perpetually trying to pay off. They struggle to receive without feeling indebted, and find it hard to believe they are worthy of love just for being themselves. Finally, the negative prophecy: you'll never succeed if you keep acting like that. A parent might think they're giving a helpful warning, but what the child hears is a prophecy, a curse spoken by the most powerful person in their world. They hear a verdict on their future. Many will spend their entire adulthood trying to outrun that prophecy, driven by a deep-seated fear of failure. Others, tragically, surrender to it. They internalize the belief that they are destined to fail, so they unconsciously sabotage their own success to prove their parent right. This is the power of suggestion at its most potent. So, how do we fix this? Breaking these patterns starts with awareness. Children don't need perfect parents. They need present parents, curious parents, who can pause, ta cabriat, and replace phrase at ta quithnicting. Parents who can say, "I see you're really upset. Tell me what you feel. I'm listening." That simple shift can change everything. It replaces invalidation with validation, control with connection, and shame with safety. The words you use become the code your child will run on for the rest of their life. Choose them with care. This is mental code helping you decode the mind, one story at a time.